When I was about 13, I started getting creepy calls from a sexual predator when I was home alone. I was shocked and didn't know what to do. He would ask explicit sexual questions until I hung up. After 2-3 times of this happening, I summoned the courage to tell my father. He was very upset understandably, and said that the next time the creep called and asked if I wanted to do something sexual, I should agree to meet him and then immediately call my dad. A few weeks after this conversation, the creep called again and I summoned the courage to agree to meet. I remembered my dad's instructions and suggested we could meet behind a strip mall near my house on the weekend. As soon as I hung up, I called my dad at work and told him. My dad told me that the man would never be calling again, and that everything would be fixed soon. Saturday came around, and for some reason my Uncle Angus was at the house. He and my dad played rugby together and had a reputation of being one of the toughest motherfuckers in his league. My dad told me that he and Angus were going to have a talk with my caller. And at the time that was the end of the story. It wasn't until about 20 years later, after getting out of an abusive relationship, that my father told me what happened. He told me that he would do whatever it takes to protect me. He said he did it before and he'll do it again. When I asked him what that meant, he told me the rest of the story. Him and Angus waited for the creep at the back of the mall. They dragged him out of the car and wailed on him to within an inch of his life. TLDR, my daughter is starting to realize that I am struggling and I don't know what to do. Last year I lost my job during the pandemic and quickly ran out of savings. My daughter and I had to move back in with my abusive mother as I couldn't pay for both food and rent and didn't want her to go hungry. 8 months of absolute hell in that house with constant belittlement and serious mental health decline, but I eventually managed to find part-time work as a cashier at a charity shop. We eventually managed to escape from the house to a shared bedroom flat once I had enough money. Things started to settle down until last week when I was told that the shop was going out of business and that I would need to find work elsewhere. I have been desperately trying to find options to avoid moving back in with my abusive mother, but I want to make sure my daughter doesn't know that anything is wrong. Yesterday she asked me why I am not hungry and I completely broke down. It felt as though I was pressed against a wall with a weight on my lungs. I know it's not right for her to see me like this, but I am just so exhausted and overwhelmed. I try so hard for her not to feel the effects of what is happening, but I don't know if I can keep on the illusion any longer. The walls are collapsing in on me and I feel like the world is moving on like nothing happened. I am sorry for the long wall of text and I know there is nothing you can do, but I really needed to get this out. Edit. Thank you everyone for your kind support. I am really moved and was not expecting this at all. You really are great. I married when I was 22. My husband came from a very tight family and wanted lots of kids. He jokingly said he married me because I had no family. 15 years and 5 kids later, he and I started having marital problems. Mainly he wanted me to stay home and I wanted to work. Why else would I have gotten my master's degree? His family was my family, but it was becoming clear they were going to side with him because he was blood. In 2018, he died from a heart attack. Congenital. I was devastated. No one in my family even bothered to ask if I needed support. His family came through big time. Just very kind things like sending me a random text asking me how I'm doing or a funny gif. His brothers stepped up to be there as much as possible for our sons as they were very close with their dad. His parents are always inviting us over. His sister wants to be my bestie. I lost my husband, but I inherited the family I never had. If my husband had lived, we'd probably divorce and I'd be shunned from the only family I've ever known. I'm almost crying at my desk at work. My student loans have been paid off because I work in the public sector and qualified for the PSLF program. Due to the reevaluation of qualifying payments, my loan has been forgiven. I really don't have anyone to share this with and have to get back to work, but wow. 20+ years ago, when my parents started introducing me to chores, I found out how much I hated doing the dishes. My sister and I would split this task equally. She gets one night, I get the next. This went on for about a week when one night when it was my turn to do the dishes I found if I put the water to full heat and stuck my hands in they'd get very red, and like that an idea was formed. When it became time for me to do the dishes I turned the tap to as hot as it could go, did the dishes, got my hands all nice and red, and then went up to my mom and complained. She looked, said it was strange and that she'd keep an eye on it. In about 10 minutes it all cleared up. And I was back to business as usual. The next time I did the dishes I did the same thing. After looking at it, my mom decided I must have a slight allergy to dish soap and that I shouldn't do them anymore. For the years I continued to live with my family, and any family occasion since then, Christmas, Thanksgiving, going up to our family cottage where there is no dishwasher, I haven't had to do the dishes because I'm allergic. Even now, after at least 2 decades, I just can't bring myself to come clean about it. Edit. While I don't owe anyone an explanation, I feel I should add, for those who think I'm some terrible person that escaped all chores through this, I didn't at all. I did many other things. For instance, my sister had allergies to many things, so I always was responsible for dusting, mowing the lawn, etc. I didn't escape chores. I just got out of one I hated. Also, while my sister still does dishes at family events to this day, I'm always the one who cooks, etc. She be doing the dishes as her way to pull her weight anyways. It's the way we work, and as siblings we are best friends and inseparable to this day. My biggest insecurity is my smile. The mask mandate allowed me to go from introverted to extroverted and has helped me to experience the beauty of meeting new people without wondering what they might think of my smile. Laughing freely is a small privilege I never thought I'd be afforded.